Stop praying. Yes, you heard me correctly. Most of what you've been taught about prayer is keeping you trapped in the very condition you're trying to escape. Right now, as you listen to these words, your subconscious mind is either building your future or dismantling it, and the difference has nothing to do with how long you kneel, how loudly you beg, or how desperately you plead. There's a secret operating beneath your thoughts, beneath your words, beneath even your intentions. And once you understand it, you'll never approach prayer or life the same way again. I know that might sound shocking, coming from someone who has spent his entire life teaching about the power of prayer, but stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you will revolutionize not just how you pray, but how you experience every single moment of your existence. You see, the problem isn't prayer itself. The problem is that almost everyone is praying in a way that reinforces the very thing they're trying to change. They're praying from lack. They're praying from fear. They're praying from a position of not having. And their subconscious mind, that magnificent, powerful, creative force within them, is simply responding to that frequency. It's saying yes to their dominant feeling, not their desperate words. Let me be very clear about why you need to understand this right now, in this moment. You've been lied to about prayer. Not intentionally, perhaps, but the result is the same. You've been taught to approach prayer as a beggar approaches a king. You've been taught to plead, to convince, to demonstrate your worthiness. And every single time you do that, you are programming your subconscious mind with one message and one message only. I don't have it. I am not worthy. I am separate from what I desire. Your subconscious mind is not moral. Let me say that again, because this is crucial. Your subconscious mind is not sitting in judgment of you. It is not deciding whether you deserve your good. It is not testing your faith or making you prove yourself. It is simply, mechanically, faithfully reproducing whatever you deeply and emotionally accept as true. It doesn't care if that truth empowers you or destroys you. It doesn't distinguish between what you consciously want and what you unconsciously believe. It only knows one thing: to make real in your outer world what is real in your inner world. This is why some people seem to effortlessly attract everything they touch, while others spend their entire lives struggling, suffering, begging for scraps from a universe that seems deaf to their cries. It has nothing to do with luck. It has nothing to do with karma or worthiness or divine favor. It has everything to do with understanding and working with the law of your own consciousness. Now, what I'm about to teach you in this video will shatter the myth that prayer is about words, repetition, or how much you can convince God that you're deserving. Instead, you're going to discover why desperation repels what you want and what to do instead. You're going to learn the exact feeling state that activates your subconscious mind's creative power. You're going to understand how to pray in a way that feels like relief, not strain, like peace, not panic. And perhaps most importantly, you're going to finally understand why your so-called unanswered prayers were actually answered perfectly, just not in the way you thought. What makes this different from everything else you've heard? I'm not teaching you to manipulate the universe. I'm not giving you tricks or techniques to force outcomes. I'm teaching you to align with a law as reliable as gravity, the law of your own consciousness. This isn't mysticism dressed up in spiritual language. This is psychology. This is the science of belief meeting the art of feeling. And when you understand it, when you truly grasp it, you'll realize that you've been powerful all along. You've just been using your power against yourself. If you've ever felt abandoned by God, if you've ever wondered why others succeed while you struggle, if you've ever been exhausted from trying so hard to make things happen, this refrain will set you free. This understanding will give you back the power that was always yours. Now, before we go any further, I want to tell you about something that happened that illustrated this principle so clearly, it changed how I taught this material forever. A woman came to me several years ago, and she was consumed, absolutely consumed by financial desperation. Every single morning, she woke up and prayed for money. She had a whole ritual. She would visualize checks coming in the mail. She would write out affirmations about abundance. She would repeat, "I am wealthy. I am prosperous. Money flows to me easily," hundreds of times a day. She did everything she thought she was supposed to do. And yet, every single month, she sank deeper into debt. The bills piled higher. The anxiety grew stronger. And she came to me with tears in her eyes saying, "Joseph, I don't understand. I'm doing everything right. Why isn't it working? Why won't God answer my prayers?" I asked her one simple question. I said, "When you pray, when you say those affirmations, when you visualize that money, how do you feel?" And she looked at me, confused at first, like that was the strangest question anyone had ever asked her. Then she said, "I feel desperate. I feel afraid. I feel like I'm running out of time, like everything is about to collapse. Like if this doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to do." And there it was. Right there. The entire problem, revealed in one honest answer. Her prayer wasn't for abundance. Her prayer was from lack. Her prayer was drenched in fear. Every time she said, "I am wealthy," her subconscious mind didn't hear those words. It felt the terror beneath them. It felt the anxiety, the panic, the crushing weight of not having enough. And so, being the faithful servant that it is, it went to work, creating more situations for her to feel terrified about. It brought her more lack, more bills, more reasons to be desperate. Not because it was punishing her, but because it was simply responding to her dominant emotional state. Your subconscious mind doesn't argue with you. It doesn't say, "Wait, I know you're saying you're abundant, but I can feel that you're terrified, so which one do you really want?" No. It accepts your dominant feeling as your instruction. It takes your emotional frequency as your prayer. And it answers that prayer with absolute precision. So I gave this woman one instruction. Just one. I said, "Stop praying for money. Stop visualizing checks. Stop saying affirmations about wealth. Instead, every night before you sleep, I want you to do one thing and one thing only. Feel the relief of your bills being paid. Don't try to visualize the money. Don't try to figure out where it will come from. Just feel the peace, the exhale, the safety, the feeling of everything being handled. Feel what it would be like to go to sleep at night with no financial anxiety. Just rest in that feeling until you drift off to sleep." She looked at me skeptically. She said, "That's it? Just feel relief? That seems too simple." And I told her, what I'm going to tell you right now. The simplicity is exactly why it works. You've been making this so complicated. You've been trying so hard. And all that effort, all that strain, all that desperation is precisely what's keeping you stuck. Within 3 weeks, an unexpected contract came through for her. Not from anywhere she had been forcing or pushing or trying to make something happen. It came from a direction she hadn't even considered. And when she called me, she said something I'll never forget. She said, "Joseph, I didn't make this happen. I didn't do anything. I just finally stopped fighting." And I said, "Exactly. You stopped interrupting the process. You stopped digging up the seed to check if it was growing. That's the metaphor I want you to hold in your mind as we go deeper into this. Imagine you plant a seed in the ground. You water it, and then immediately, because you're anxious and you want to see results, you dig it up to check if it's growing. You look at it, you worry about it, you wonder if you planted it right, and then you put it back in the ground. The next day, you do the same thing. You water it and dig it up, water it and dig it up. What happens to that seed? It never grows. It can't grow. Why? Because growth requires one thing: you keep interrupting trust in the unseen process. Prayer works exactly the same way. When you pray and then immediately check for results. When you pray and then panic because you don't see evidence yet. When you pray and then pray again because you're not sure the first time counted. You're digging up your seed. Your subconscious mind interprets that anxiety as a message. It interprets it as, "It's not done. It's not real. I don't have it. I'm still in lack." And so it keeps creating lack. Effective prayer is planting the seed once with feeling, with certainty, with the emotional conviction of it being done, and then walking away in calm expectation. Not hope. Hope is weak. Hope is, maybe it will happen. I'm talking about expectation. The quiet knowing that the harvest is already on its way. The same way you plant a seed and you don't stand over it begging it to grow. You don't panic. You don't dig it up. You water it and you walk away, knowing that nature is taking care of the rest. Your subconscious mind is nature. It knows what to do, but you have to stop interfering. Now, you might be thinking, Joseph, this sounds too simple. If it's just about feeling, if it's just about assuming it's already done, why isn't everyone doing this? Why are so many people suffering and struggling? And that's exactly what I want to address now, because the simplicity is what makes it so hard to believe. We've been conditioned to think that anything valuable must be difficult. We've been taught that we have to earn our good, that we have to prove ourselves, that we have to work and strive and sacrifice. And all of that conditioning is what stands between you and the effortless manifestation of your desires. Let me break this down for you in a way that will change everything. Your subconscious mind speaks only one language, not English, not prayers in words, not affirmations or visualizations in the way you've been taught. It speaks the language of feeling. Feeling is the only language your subconscious understands. When you say, I am confident, 1,000 times, but underneath those words you feel small, ashamed, unworthy, what does your subconscious accept? The feeling. Always the feeling. You can say the words until you're blue in the face, but if the emotional undercurrent contradicts those words, your subconscious will always choose the feeling. This is why affirmations fail for most people. They're speaking to the wrong part of themselves. Their conscious mind hears the words and thinks they're doing something productive, but their subconscious mind, the part that actually creates their reality, is only registering the emotional truth beneath those words. I've had people come to me who have been doing affirmations for years, sometimes decades, and they're frustrated because nothing has changed. They say, Joseph, I've been affirming abundance every single day for 10 years. Why am I still broke? And I asked them the same question I asked that woman. How do you feel when you say those affirmations? And almost always, the answer is some version of, I feel like I'm trying to convince myself of something that isn't true. There's the problem. Right there. You can't lie to your subconscious mind. It feels everything. It knows the difference between genuine conviction and desperate hope. And hope, as I said before, is weak. Hope is not faith. Hope is, I want this to be true, but I'm not sure it is. Faith is, this is true, period, regardless of what I see or don't see in my outer world right now. So let me give you the second major principle that will transform your prayer life. Prayer is not petition. Prayer is not begging. Prayer is not asking God, or the universe, or some external power to give you something you don't have. Prayer is assumption. It's claiming. It's taking your seat at the table and knowing, with every fiber of your being, that what you desire is already yours. This is the great secret hidden in every spiritual tradition, though it's often buried under layers of religious dogma and misinterpretation. Jesus said, and this is one of the most misunderstood teachings in all of Scripture, when you pray, believe you have already received it, and it will be yours. Read that carefully. Not, believe you will receive it. Not, believe it's coming. Believe you have already received it. Already. Present tense. Done, finished, complete. Why would he say it that way? Because he understood the law of consciousness. He understood that your subconscious mind only understands now. It doesn't process future or past. It only knows this moment. When you pray for something, when you place your desire in the future, you are literally programming your subconscious to keep it in the future, always out of reach, always coming but never here. You're stuck on a treadmill, running towards something that stays the same distance away no matter how hard you try. But when you pray from the feeling of already having it, when you claim it in the present tense, when you assume it's already done, something miraculous happens. You collapse time. You instruct your subconscious mind. This is my reality now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when I'm worthy enough or when I've worked hard enough. Now. And your subconscious, being the faithful servant that it is, immediately goes to work making your outer world match your inner conviction. I want you to try something right now. Think of something you want. Anything. Better health, a loving relationship, financial security, Creative success, peace of mind. Got it? Good. Now notice how you feel when you think about it. If you're like most people, you feel a sense of longing. You feel the absence of it. You feel the wanting. And that wanting is exactly what keeps it away. Now I want you to try something different. Close your eyes for a moment if you can. Take a deep breath. And instead of wanting it, instead of wishing for it, I want you to feel as if you already have it. How would you feel right now if this thing you desire was already resolved? If it was already yours? Don't visualize it unless that helps you feel it. The visualization is not the point. The feeling is everything. Would you feel relief, peace, joy, gratitude, pride? Whatever that feeling is, sink into it. Let it fill your chest. Let it relax your shoulders. Let it soften your face. Just be with that feeling for a few seconds. Do you notice the difference? Do you feel how different that is from wanting? That feeling you just touched, that's the frequency of having. That's the frequency that creates. And here's what most people don't understand. You don't have to wait until you have the thing to feel that way. You can feel that way right now. And when you do, when you genuinely embody that feeling, you activate a law that's as precise as mathematics. Your subconscious mind begins to rearrange your world to match that inner state. But here's where it gets tricky, and this is the third principle I need you to understand deeply. You must desire it, but you cannot need it. Do you see the distinction? Desire without attachment, intention without clinging. This is one of the greatest paradoxes of manifestation, and it's where most people get stuck. When you need something, when you're desperate for it, what is the emotional quality of that need? It's fear, it's lack, it's I am not okay unless I have this thing. And fear, as we've established, is the frequency of not having. Desperation is energetically repulsive. Think about human relationships for a moment. Think of someone who desperately wants you to like them. Someone who's trying too hard, who's needy, who's constantly seeking your approval. How do you feel around that person? You pull away, right? It's uncomfortable. The energy is off. Now think of someone who is completely confident, who enjoys your company but doesn't need your validation, who would be perfectly fine whether you like them or not. That person is magnetic. You're drawn to them precisely because they're not grasping. This is the same dynamic at play with your desires. When you grasp, when you need, when you're desperate, you push away the very thing you want. But when you desire from a place of wholeness, when you want something, but you're also completely okay without it, when you have that strange combination of clear intention and total detachment from the outcome, you become magnetic to your good. This doesn't mean you don't care. This doesn't mean you're indifferent. It means you trust. It means you know that what is yours will find you. It means you're not living in anxiety about whether it will happen, because you've already claimed it in consciousness. You've already felt it as real, and now you're simply allowing the outer world to catch up to your inner knowing. Let me give you a practical example of this. Think about something you're truly confident about. Maybe it's a skill you've mastered. Maybe it's a relationship you feel secure in. Maybe it's just the confidence that the sun will rise tomorrow. When you think about that thing, is there any anxiety? Any desperation? Any need to force it or make it happen? No. There's just calm certainty. You know it's true, so you don't think about it much. You don't obsess over it. You don't pray about it constantly. You just know. That's the frequency of effective prayer. That's the state of consciousness that manifests effortlessly. Desire with the calm certainty of someone who already knows the outcome. This is what faith actually means. Not believing really hard. Not trying to convince yourself. But resting in the knowing that it's already done in consciousness, and the physical manifestation is simply a matter of time. Now, here's something that might disturb you a little bit, but it's essential that you understand this. You are praying all day long. Not just when you kneel down or meditate or say your affirmations. Every single sustained emotion is a prayer being broadcast to your subconscious mind, which then molds your outer world to match. Every dominant feeling is an instruction. Every habitual thought pattern is a template. So when you pray for love in the morning for 5 minutes, But then you spend the rest of the day feeling unlovable, feeling rejected, feeling like nobody wants you. Which prayer is stronger? The 5-minute affirmation, or the 8-hour emotional loop of unworthiness? Your subconscious doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care what you consciously want. It responds to your dominant state. It responds to the feeling you live in most of the time. This is why transformation isn't about doing more. It's not about adding more techniques or more prayers or more rituals to your day. It's about changing your dominant emotional frequency. It's about becoming aware of what you're feeling most of the time and gently, consistently, shifting it to match what you want to experience. Think about your day yesterday. What was your dominant emotional state? Were you anxious? Peaceful? Frustrated? Content? Worried? Trusting? That emotional state was your prayer. That was what you were asking your subconscious to create more of. And if you're honest with yourself, you'll probably see that your outer circumstances match your inner state pretty accurately. The good news is that once you understand this, once you really grasp that you're always praying with your feelings, you can start to take responsibility for your inner world in a whole new way. You can start to notice when you're broadcasting fear, or lack, or resentment, and you can gently shift yourself back to the feeling you want to embody, not by forcing it, not by pretending you feel good when you don't, but by choosing thoughts and focus and interpretations that genuinely feel better. Now let me give you what I call the master key. This one practice, if you do nothing else I teach you, will revolutionize your entire experience of prayer and manifestation. It's simple, but it's profound. Here it is: gratitude before receiving. When you thank your subconscious mind, when you thank life, when you thank God for something before you see it, you do something that completely bypasses the intellect and speaks directly to the creative power within you. You assume its existence. You claim it as done. Gratitude is not the feeling of hoping to receive. Gratitude is the emotional signature of already having. Think about how you feel when someone gives you a gift. You feel grateful, right? Warm, appreciative, full. Now, what if you felt that same gratitude for the things you're praying for, even though you can't see them yet? What if you thanked your subconscious mind with the same genuine warmth and appreciation you'd feel if someone just handed you exactly what you wanted? Try it right now. Think of something you desire. Now, instead of wanting it, instead of wishing for it, instead of hoping it will come, feel grateful for it. Not hopefully grateful. Like, I really hope this works out, so I'll thank you in advance just in case. No, I mean genuinely grateful. The way you'd feel if you just got amazing news. The way you'd feel if someone told you your dream just came true. Can you access that feeling? Can you feel that warmth in your chest? That softness? That relief? That feeling right there is the secret to effective prayer. That's the frequency that collapses time. That's the state of consciousness that instructs your subconscious mind to make it so. Because when you're truly grateful for something, you can't simultaneously be in lack about it. Gratitude and lack cannot coexist. They're opposite frequencies. So when you cultivate genuine gratitude for your desire as if it's already fulfilled, you automatically shift out of the state of wanting and into the state of having. I've seen this work miracles in people's lives. I've seen people heal their bodies by feeling grateful for their health before they were healthy. I've seen people attract perfect relationships by feeling grateful for their partner before they met them. I've seen financial transformations happen when people started thanking their subconscious mind for abundance before they had any evidence of it. Not because gratitude is magic, but because gratitude is the emotional language of receiving. It's the feeling of yes. It's the feeling of it is done. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, but Joseph, how can I be grateful for something I don't have? Isn't that lying to myself? Isn't that fake? And this is where you have to understand something crucial about how consciousness works. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between an experience that's happening in the physical world and an experience you're vividly feeling in your imagination. To your subconscious, feeling is reality. If you feel grateful, as far as your subconscious is concerned, there must be something to be grateful for, and it immediately goes to work making sure that's true. This is not lying. This is not pretending. This is working with the law of your own consciousness. This is understanding that your inner world creates your outer world, not the other way around. You don't wait for your circumstances to change so you can feel good. You feel good genuinely, from a place of faith and assumption, and your circumstances change to match. So let me bring all of this together now into a practical framework you can use tonight. I'm going to give you a practice that incorporates everything we've talked about. I call it the feeling prayer, and it's the most powerful prayer technique I've ever taught. Tonight, before you go to sleep, you're going to pray differently than you've ever prayed before. And I want you to pay close attention to every step, because each part matters. First, identify your desire. Get crystal clear. What do you actually want? And I don't mean what you think you should want. I don't mean what would make your parents proud, or what society says you should achieve. I mean, what does your heart genuinely ache for? What would make you feel free? What would make you feel alive? What would bring you peace? Get specific. Write it down if you need to. But know what you're praying for. Second, and this is crucial, forget the how. Release completely any concern about how this will happen. Your job is not to figure out the path. Your job is not to make a plan or strategize or manipulate circumstances. Your job is to claim the end, to feel the fulfillment of your desire. The how is not your business. The how is your subconscious mind's business. Your subconscious has access to possibilities and paths and synchronicities that your conscious mind can't even imagine. So let it do its job. You do yours, which is to feel. Third, construct the feeling. This is the heart of the practice. Don't worry about visualizing details unless that helps you feel. The details are not what matters. The feeling is everything. How would you feel if this desire were already fulfilled? If this problem were already solved? If this thing you want were already yours? Would you feel peaceful, relieved, joyful, proud, secure, free? Whatever that feeling is, go there, sink into it, let it saturate your entire body. If it helps, imagine a friend calling you to congratulate you. Hear their voice. Feel their genuine happiness for you. Or imagine yourself 1 year from now, looking back at this moment, so grateful that everything worked out exactly as it needed to. Feel that gratitude. Feel that relief. Feel the way tension leaves your body when something you've been worried about finally resolves. That's the feeling. That's the prayer. Don't rush this. Don't treat it like a task to check off. Really be with the feeling. Let yourself enjoy it. Let yourself rest in it. This is not work. This is not effort. This is relief. This is peace. This is allowing yourself to feel good before you have a reason to feel good, which is the only way to create a reason to feel good. Fourth, once you genuinely feel it, and I mean truly feel it, not just think about it, say inwardly, with quiet conviction, "Thank you. It is done." That's it. Simple, direct, final. Thank you. It is done. You're not asking. You're not hoping. You're not begging. You're claiming. You're acknowledging completion. You're speaking from the end. And then, and this might be the hardest part for some of you, let it go. Release it completely. No checking, no testing, no monitoring to see if it's working. You planted the seed. You watered it with feeling. Now let it grow in the darkness of your subconscious mind. Trust the process. Walk away in calm expectation, knowing that what is yours is already on its way. Fifth, repeat this practice every night before sleep. Why before sleep? Because the moments before you drift off into sleep are when your subconscious mind is most receptive. Your conscious mind, with all its doubts and logical objections, is quieting down. The gates are open. This is the most powerful time to impress your subconscious with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. For some of you, this will click instantly. You'll do it once and feel a shift so profound that you'll know, with absolute certainty, that something has changed. For others, it will take practice. You might feel awkward at first. You might struggle to access the feeling. That's okay. Be patient with yourself. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is shifting your dominant emotional frequency from lack to having, from wanting to being, from hope to faith. And let me tell you what to avoid, because this is where people sabotage themselves. Don't pray from desperation. If you're too anxious, if you're in full panic mode, calm yourself first. Take 3 deep breaths. Put your hand on your heart. Remind yourself that you're safe in this moment. Get yourself to a place of even just neutral before you attempt to pray. Because if you pray from desperation, you're just reinforcing desperation. Don't monitor results obsessively. I know you want to see evidence. I know you want confirmation that this is working. But the more you check, the more you doubt. And doubt is the enemy of faith. Imagine you hired someone to paint your house. You give them the instructions, you pay them, and then you stand over their shoulder every 5 minutes asking, "Is it done yet? Are you sure you know how to do this? Show me proof that this is working." What would happen? They'd get frustrated. The work would slow down. You'd interfere with the very process you hired them to do. Your subconscious mind is the painter. Give it the instruction, the feeling, and then get out of the way. And please, please protect your inner state. Don't share your prayer with skeptics. Don't tell people who will doubt you or mock you or try to talk you out of your faith. This is tender. This is precious. Guard it like you'd guard a newborn baby. You wouldn't hand a newborn to someone who doesn't know how to hold a child. Don't hand your dream to someone who doesn't understand how consciousness works. And that's it. It's simple. Almost too simple. Which is exactly why most people never do it. They're waiting for something more complicated, something more effortful, something that feels more worthy of their struggle. But the truth is this: you've been powerful all along. You've just been using your power against yourself. You've been praying for what you want while feeling the absence of it, and your subconscious has been faithfully creating more absence. Tonight, that changes. Tonight, you start praying from the feeling of already having, and your subconscious will faithfully create more having. Now, I want to address something that I know is coming up for some of you. You're wondering, but Joseph, what if I do all of this and nothing happens? What if I pray this way, and my desire still doesn't manifest? Does that mean I did it wrong? Does that mean I don't have enough faith? And this is where we have to talk about something that trips people up constantly: the timing and the form of your answered prayer. Your subconscious mind knows better than your conscious mind. Let me say that again. Your subconscious mind has access to information, to possibilities, to the bigger picture, in a way that your limited conscious awareness does not. So sometimes, what you think you want is not actually what would make you happy. Sometimes, what you're asking for would actually cause you harm or keep you stuck. And your subconscious, in its wisdom, will either redirect that prayer or delay it or answer it in a form you didn't expect. I've seen this happen countless times. Someone prays desperately for a specific relationship to work out, and it doesn't. They think their prayer failed, but 2 years later, they meet someone who is so much more aligned with who they really are, and they look back and thank God that first relationship didn't work. That first prayer was answered. It was answered with a no, because yes would have kept them in something that wasn't meant for them. Or someone prays for a specific job, a specific amount of money, a specific outcome, and it doesn't happen exactly as they pictured, but something else happens. An opportunity they never would have considered. A path they didn't even know existed. And it turns out to be better than what they were asking for. This is why I teach people to pray for the feeling, not the form. Pray for peace, and let peace come however it needs to come. Pray for security, and trust that security will manifest in the form that serves you best. Pray for love, for joy, for freedom, for fulfillment, and release attachment to how that has to look. Your subconscious mind, your higher self, the intelligence that orchestrates galaxies and grows trees from seeds, knows the best path for you. Trust it. But here's what you need to understand. An unanswered prayer is not a rejection. It's a redirection. It's not the universe saying you're not worthy. It's consciousness saying, I have something better in mind, but you have to let go of your limited picture so I can give it to you. And sometimes, and this is hard to hear, but it's true, sometimes the delay is because you're not ready yet. Not because you're bad or unworthy, but because receiving what you want requires you to become someone who can hold it, maintain it, sustain it. If you prayed for great wealth but you have poverty consciousness, if you have beliefs about money being evil, or rich people being greedy, your subconscious will protect you from wealth, because it knows you'd sabotage it. It knows you'd find a way to lose it because deep down, you believe you don't deserve it or that it would corrupt you. So sometimes the answer to your prayer is not, "Here, take this thing." Sometimes the answer is, "Let me show you the beliefs that are in the way so you can heal them, and then what you want will flow naturally." And that process of healing, of becoming ready, is itself the answer to your prayer. It's just not the answer you expected. This is why faith is so important. Not blind faith, not stupid faith, but trusting faith. The kind of faith that says, "I've planted the seed with feeling. I've done my part. Now I'm going to live my life in peace, knowing that what is mine will find me in the perfect timing and the perfect form." That's mature faith. That's powerful faith. Let me tell you something else that's crucial. Your prayer is not a one-time event. You don't pray once and then spend the rest of your time doubting and worrying and wondering if it worked. Your prayer is a state of consciousness you maintain. It's a feeling you return to again and again. It's a knowing you live from. Think of it like tuning a radio. You tune to the frequency of your favorite station, and as long as you stay tuned to that frequency, you hear that station. But if you keep switching frequencies, if you tune to your desire for 5 minutes, and then tune to doubt for 5 hours, what are you going to receive? The frequency you're spending the most time on. Your subconscious is always listening. It's always responding. So the question is not, did my prayer work? The question is, what frequency am I broadcasting most of the time? This is why I say consciousness is the only reality. Your outer world is just a reflection, a delayed echo of your inner world. Change your inner world, change your dominant feelings, your habitual thoughts, your emotional frequency, and your outer world must change. It's law. It's not a maybe. It's not up to chance. It's as certain as the law of gravity. But you have to be consistent. You have to be persistent, not in the sense of effort and strain, but in the sense of gently, lovingly bringing yourself back to the feeling of your wish fulfilled every time you notice you've drifted into lack or fear or doubt. Think of it like training a puppy. The puppy wanders off. You gently bring it back. It wanders off again. You gently bring it back. You don't beat the puppy. You don't shame yourself. You just persistently, patiently return to the state you want to live from. And here's the beautiful thing. The more you do this, the easier it becomes. At first, it might feel forced. It might feel like you're trying to convince yourself of something you don't really believe. But if you persist, if you keep returning to the feeling, something shifts. The feeling becomes more natural. The faith becomes more solid. And one day, you realize you're not trying anymore. You just know. You just trust. You live from the end as naturally as you breathe. This is what I mean when I talk about living in the wish fulfilled. It's not a technique you do for 5 minutes before bed and then forget about. It's a way of being. It's an orientation to life. It's choosing in every moment to align with the feeling of what you want rather than the feeling of not having it. And I'll tell you something that might surprise you. When you truly master this, when you really understand how to live from the end, something magical happens. Your desires start to feel less urgent, less desperate. Not because you've given up on them, but because you've already claimed them in consciousness. You've already experienced the fulfillment in your inner world, and so the waiting becomes peaceful. The journey becomes enjoyable. You're not striving anymore, you're not grasping. You're just living in faith, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly. This is the paradox I mentioned earlier. When you finally stop needing your desire, when you're truly at peace whether it comes or not, because you've already experienced it in consciousness, that's usually when it manifests most quickly in your outer world. Because you've finally stopped interfering. You've finally stopped broadcasting the frequency of lack. You're resting in the assumption of having, and your subconscious is free to work its magic without your doubt and fear getting in the way. Now, I want to share with you one more story before we close. This one is about a man who came to me with a health crisis. He had been diagnosed with a serious illness, and the doctors had given him a grim prognosis. He was terrified. He was praying constantly, begging God to heal him, making desperate bargains. If you heal me, I'll do this, I'll change that, I'll be better, I promise. And I said to him what I've said to you. I said, stop begging, stop bargaining, stop praying from fear. Instead, I want you to do something that's going to feel counterintuitive. I want you to thank God for your perfect health right now. I want you to feel, with every cell of your body, the gratitude you would feel if you just received a clean bill of health from your doctor. I want you to live from that feeling, not just for 5 minutes, but as much as you possibly can throughout your day. He looked at me like I was crazy. He said, Joseph, I'm sick. How can I be grateful for health I don't have? Isn't that denial? Shouldn't I be accepting reality? And I said, you're absolutely right to accept reality. But what is reality? Is reality what your eyes see? Or is reality what you claim in consciousness? Which one has the power to change? Your physical body is always responding to your inner state. Always. So if you want your body to heal, you have to first heal your consciousness. You have to first claim perfect health in your imagination. You have to feel it so deeply that your subconscious accepts it as fact. And then your body will have no choice but to reflect that inner knowing. He was skeptical, but he was also desperate enough to try. So he did it. Every night before sleep, he would lie there and feel overwhelming gratitude for his perfect health. He would imagine his doctor calling with good news. He would feel the relief, the joy, the freedom of being well. And during the day, whenever fear would creep in, whenever he'd start to worry about his symptoms, he would gently redirect himself back to that feeling of health. It wasn't easy at first. His symptoms were still there. The fear was still there. But he kept choosing the feeling. He kept returning to the assumption of health, and something remarkable happened. Within 2 months, he went back for tests, and the doctors were shocked. The illness had regressed significantly. They couldn't explain it. They called it spontaneous remission. But you and I know what really happened. His subconscious mind, responding to his dominant feeling of health, went to work healing his body. It mobilized every resource, every cell, every system to match the inner picture he was holding. Was it the feeling prayer alone that healed him? Was it the medical treatment combined with his inner work? I don't know. And frankly, it doesn't matter. What matters is that he stopped using his prayer to reinforce his illness. He stopped broadcasting fear and started broadcasting health. And his body responded. This is the power you have. This is the creative force that lives within you. Your subconscious mind is not limited by what your doctors say, what your bank account says, what your past says. It responds to what you deeply, emotionally accept as true right now. And if you can shift that acceptance, if you can genuinely feel your desire as already fulfilled, you activate a power that can move mountains. Now, as we come to the close of our time together, I want to leave you with some final thoughts. Some reminders that I hope you'll carry with you as you begin to practice this new way of praying. First, remember that you are not broken. You have never been powerless. Every moment of your life, your subconscious mind has been faithfully creating your experience based on your dominant inner state. It has never failed you. It has never betrayed you. It has simply been doing its job perfectly, mechanically, without judgment. If you don't like what it's been creating, that's okay. That's not a sign that you're bad or cursed or unworthy. It's simply a sign that you've been unconsciously programming it with feelings of lack and fear. And now that you know better, you can do better. Second, remember that the problem was never your worthiness. It was never that God wasn't listening or that the universe was withholding. The problem was simply that no one taught you the language your subconscious speaks. No one told you that words don't matter, that affirmations without feeling are empty, that prayer from lack creates more lack. But now you know. Now you understand that prayer is not about convincing anyone of anything. Prayer is assumption. Prayer is feeling. Prayer is the quiet, calm, inner knowing that it is already done. Third, remember that this is a practice, not a performance. You're not going to get this perfect on the first try. You're going to forget. You're going to doubt. You're going to slip back into fear and lack. That's human. That's normal. What matters is that you gently, lovingly bring yourself back. Every time you notice you've drifted into the old patterns, you have an opportunity to choose again, to feel again, to align again, and each time you do, you're strengthening the new neural pathways. You're training your subconscious to accept a new truth. You're becoming someone who lives from faith instead of fear. And fourth, remember that the universe, God, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, is not testing you. It's not making you prove yourself. It's not withholding your good until you're perfect enough, or spiritual enough, or faithful enough. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is the gap between what you're feeling now and the feeling of already having what you want. Close that gap, and everything changes. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, before you click away, before you get distracted by the next thing, I want you to make a commitment. Not to me, to yourself. I want you to commit to trying this for 30 days. 30 nights of feeling prayer before you sleep. 30 nights of claiming your desire as already done. 30 nights of gratitude before receiving. That's all I ask. Just 30 days. And during those 30 days, I want you to pay attention. Not to your outer circumstances, those will lag behind. Pay attention to how you feel. Notice if you start to feel lighter. Notice if the anxiety lessens. Notice if you catch yourself smiling for no reason, or feeling peaceful in situations that used to stress you out. Those are the first signs that your inner world is shifting. And where your inner world goes, your outer world must follow. So let me leave you with a declaration, a mantra, something you can say to yourself when doubt creeps in, when fear tries to take over, when you forget how powerful you really are. Say this to yourself, and let it remind you of the truth. I do not pray for what I want. I pray from the feeling of already having it. My subconscious mind is now faithfully reproducing this feeling in my outer world. It is done. I am free. I am whole. I am powerful. And I trust the process completely. Say that with me now. Out loud if you can, or silently if you're in a place where you can't speak. But say it with conviction. Say it with feeling. Let it sink into your subconscious. Like a seed into fertile soil. I do not pray for what I want. I pray from the feeling of already having it. My subconscious mind is now faithfully reproducing this feeling in my outer world. It is done. I am free. I am whole. I am powerful. And I trust the process completely. Beautiful. I felt that. I hope you did too. Because that's not just words. That's a declaration of your true nature. That's you claiming your power. That's you stepping into the understanding that has eluded you for so long. You are not a beggar at the feet of an indifferent God. You are a creator. You are consciousness itself, expressing through a human form. And when you understand that, when you really grasp the magnitude of what you are, everything becomes possible. Let me share something with you that goes even deeper into this truth. Something that will help you understand why some prayers seem to be answered immediately, while others take time, and why sometimes what you think is a delay is actually protection, preparation, or redirection towards something far better than you originally imagined. There's a principle I've observed throughout my years of teaching this work, and it's something most people don't talk about because it requires a level of spiritual maturity to understand. Your subconscious mind is not just responding to your current feelings, it's also working to align you with your highest good, with the version of your life that serves your soul's growth and evolution. Sometimes, and stay with me here because this is important, sometimes when you pray for something and it doesn't manifest immediately, it's not because your prayer was rejected. It's because receiving that thing right now, in your current state of consciousness, would actually harm you or limit you in ways you can't yet see. Your subconscious, in its infinite wisdom, is protecting you from premature manifestation. Think about a child who desperately wants to drive a car. They see adults driving, and it looks exciting and freeing, and they want that experience right now. But as a parent, you know that giving a 7-year-old the keys to a car wouldn't be a gift, it would be dangerous. The child needs to grow, to mature, to develop the skills and judgment necessary to handle that responsibility safely. The delay isn't rejection. It's love. The same principle applies to your prayers. If you're praying for wealth, but you have deep-seated beliefs that money corrupts people, that rich people are selfish, that wanting more is greedy, your subconscious will not bring you wealth. Not because you don't deserve it, but because it knows you would self-sabotage. It knows you would unconsciously find ways to lose that money because having it would contradict your core beliefs about what kind of person you are. So what does your subconscious do instead? It begins the process of healing those beliefs. It starts bringing you experiences, insights, encounters with people who have wealth and integrity, situations that challenge your old programming. It's preparing the soil before planting the seed. And when you're finally ready, when your consciousness has expanded enough to hold what you're asking for, the manifestation happens so quickly and easily it will seem like magic. But it's not magic. It's timing. It's readiness. It's alignment. I've seen this play out in countless lives. A woman prays for a relationship, and nothing happens for 2 years. She gets frustrated. She thinks God has forgotten her. But during those 2 years, she's been healing. She's been learning to love herself. She's been releasing codependent patterns. She's been becoming the version of herself who can attract and maintain a healthy relationship. And then, when she's ready, the right person appears seemingly out of nowhere. Not because the universe suddenly decided to answer her prayer, but because she finally became a vibrational match for what she was asking for. This is why I always teach people to pray for the feeling, rather than the specific form. When you pray for peace, you allow your subconscious to bring you peace in whatever form serves you best. When you pray for security, you're not limiting your subconscious to one specific job, or one specific amount of money. You're opening yourself to all the infinite ways security can manifest. When you pray for love, you're not forcing your subconscious to make a specific person love you, which would violate their free will and ultimately wouldn't bring you happiness anyway. You're allowing your subconscious to orchestrate the perfect circumstances for genuine, mutual, healthy love to enter your life. This is the difference between manipulation and creation. Manipulation tries to force specific outcomes through specific paths. It's rigid. It's controlling. And it usually backfires. Creation, on the other hand, claims the end result, the feeling, the essence, the soul of what you want, and then surrenders the details to the infinite intelligence of your subconscious mind. It's flexible, it's trusting, and it always works, though not always in the way you expect. Now, I want to talk about something that might challenge you a bit, something that requires real honesty and self-examination, and that is this. Sometimes we think we want something, but what we actually want is the feeling we believe that thing will give us. And often, there are multiple paths to that feeling, some far better and more aligned than the specific thing we're fixated on. For example, someone might pray desperately for a promotion at work. They want the title, the recognition, the increased salary. But when I ask them why they want it, they say, I want to feel valued. I want to feel successful. I want to feel secure. Those are the real desires: feeling valued, feeling successful, feeling secure. The promotion is just one potential path to those feelings. But there might be other paths. A different job entirely. Starting their own business. A creative endeavor that brings recognition. A relationship that makes them feel deeply valued. A spiritual awakening that gives them an unshakable sense of inner security that no job could ever provide. When you're attached to a specific form, you limit your subconscious to one narrow path. When you focus on the feeling, you open up infinite possibilities. Your subconscious can then survey all available paths and guide you toward the one that will truly fulfill you, not just temporarily satisfy you. This is why I always encourage people to ask themselves, what do I really want? What would having this thing give me? What feeling am I actually seeking? And then pray from that feeling. Claim that feeling is already yours. Live in that feeling, and watch how your subconscious brings you experiences that genuinely deliver that feeling, often in ways far more beautiful and perfect than what you originally had in mind. Let me tell you about a man I worked with many years ago. He came to me obsessed with becoming wealthy. Every prayer, every visualization, every waking thought was focused on money. He wanted millions. He wanted financial freedom. He wanted to never worry about money again. And he was frustrated because despite all his prayers and affirmations, he was still struggling financially. I asked him the question I just shared with you. What would having millions of dollars give you? What feeling are you actually seeking? And he sat with that for a long time. Finally, he said, I want to feel free. I want to wake up every day and do what I love, without worrying about survival. I want to feel creative and expressed and useful. I want to feel like my life matters. So you don't actually want money, I said. You want freedom, creative expression, purpose, and meaning. Money is just one potential path to those feelings. But it's not the only path. And for some people, it's not even the best path. This frustrated him at first. He insisted that money was the answer. But I asked him to try an experiment. For 30 days, instead of praying for money, pray from the feeling of freedom. Feel free. Feel creative. Feel purposeful. Live as if you already have the life you want, regardless of your current bank account. He reluctantly agreed. And something remarkable happened. Within 2 weeks, he reconnected with an old friend who was starting a non-profit and needed someone with his specific skills. The salary wasn't massive, but it was enough to live comfortably. And more importantly, the work was meaningful. He was using his talents for something he believed in. He felt free not because he had millions in the bank, but because he was finally doing work that aligned with his soul. Over the next year, something interesting happened. Because he was no longer coming from lack and desperation around money, because he was genuinely happy and fulfilled, opportunities started flowing to him naturally. Within 3 years, he was making far more money than he ever had before. But here's the beautiful part. The money wasn't the goal anymore. It was a side effect of living in alignment. It was a natural byproduct of doing what he loved and serving from his gifts. This is what I mean when I say your subconscious knows better than you do. If he had gotten those millions while he was still in a consciousness of lack and desperation, he probably would have squandered them, or he would have made himself miserable trying to hold on to them. He wasn't ready, but his subconscious knew exactly what he needed. First, the experience of doing meaningful work and feeling fulfilled regardless of money. That transformed his consciousness. That healed his poverty mindset. And then, from that healed place, the money could flow to him safely and sustainably. This is the kind of intelligence you're working with when you pray effectively. This is the wisdom that's operating beneath the surface of your conscious awareness. And when you learn to trust it, when you stop trying to micromanage and control every detail of how your good comes to you, life becomes so much easier, so much more joyful, so much more surprising in the best possible way. Now, I want to address something else that comes up frequently. People ask me, Joseph, what about when bad things happen? What about when I'm trying to maintain a positive state but life throws me a curveball? Does that mean I failed? Does that mean my prayer didn't work? And my answer is always the same. Challenges, obstacles, and unexpected difficulties are not signs that your prayer failed. They're often signs that it's working. Think about it this way. When you plant a seed and it begins to grow, it has to break through the soil to reach the light. That breaking through is not a sign that the seed is failing. It's a necessary part of the growth process. The resistance of the soil is actually what strengthens the plant. If the seed never had to push through anything, it would be weak. It wouldn't survive. Your prayers work the same way. When you set a new intention, when you claim a new reality and consciousness, your outer world has to reorganize itself to match. And during that reorganization, things might get messy. Old patterns might surface to be healed. People who are not aligned with your new consciousness might fall away. Situations that were holding you back might collapse. And in the moment, this can feel like things are getting worse, not better. It can feel like your prayer backfired. But what's really happening is that your subconscious is clearing space for what you've claimed. It's removing obstacles. It's healing old wounds. It's ending chapters that need to end so new ones can begin. And if you can trust that process, if you can maintain your feeling of the wish fulfilled, even while the old is crumbling, you'll get through the transition so much faster and easier. I remember a woman who prayed for a career that would fulfill her soul's purpose. Within a month of starting this prayer practice, she was unexpectedly laid off from her job. She panicked. She thought she had done something wrong. She thought her prayer had somehow caused this disaster. But I reminded her, your subconscious is always working for